Hello my friends, and welcome to another pick a card reading. I hope you're all doing really well. And today's reading is about what have I learned from this situation. I don't know which one is grammatically correct, but I think they're both correct. So it's either like learnt or learned. But what have I learned from this situation? What lessons have I taken from this situation? Now this could be any situation. You can apply this to any situation that you're thinking of. What I will do is I will select cards now. And then while we're on screen together. And then we can take it from there. The timestamps, as usual, will be down in the description box below. So let's see. What has pile 1 learned from this situation? What has pile 1? It's a card for pile 1. Okay, pile 1. What have I learnt from this situation? Pile 2, what have I learnt from this situation? Oh, I won't take that one because we saw it. And pile 3, what have I learnt from this situation? So, okay, my lovelies, there's your piles. Pile 1, pile 2, and pile 3. Timestamps will be in the description box below. What have I learnt from this situation? And I'll see you there. Bye. Hello, pile 1, and welcome to your reading. So, what have you learnt from this situation? I've just noticed one of my candles have gone out, so bear with me. Let's have a look. Wow, humour. What have you learnt from this situation? I choose to focus on the lighter side of life with the laughing Buddha there. Now, the laughing Buddha is really interesting because as someone who's studied... I wouldn't say I'm an expert, but no way would I say I'm an expert, but I'd say that I've been studying Buddha for a while. I'm a student of Buddha, but the laughing Buddha is something that is not it's not the traditional Buddha, but it is a Buddha to invoke happiness, prosperity, joy, and lightheartedness. So. It may have been that this situation was giving you grief and you're like, you know what, I'm just going to laugh about it because it's just so stupid. I'm just going to laugh about it. I do get a sense of there is just absolutely no point. And it's almost like the sense of you being able to get over this is very good for your health, your well-being, and for your heart. With this green here, sorry about that, I've just realized that the lighting is wrong as well. There we go. Oh, there we go, that's a bit better. I think that will be a bit, yeah, that's it. The color was a bit too, I was like, that's a bit muted. But yeah, so this beautiful kind of green gold, very noble. You know, it's almost like you're putting yourself in a position where you're like, no, I'm not going to take any BS from other people. I am going to just be me, do what I'm doing, and I'm going to laugh at the situation because it's just not worth me being so upset about it. That's what I'm getting. So, let's see what your tarot has to say about the situation. What has pile 1 learnt from this situation? What has pile 1 learnt from this situation? What has pile 1 learnt from this situation? The Devil reversed. Okay, right. Then the King of Swords reversed. The Knight of Wands reversed. The High Priestess reversed. Whoa. Everything's reversed. What's going on, pile 1? So, I mean, you know, you definitely are rising above it, if I'm honest. You're definitely rising above any kind of pain, any kind of animosity. People may be trying to kind of do that, like kind of make you, they're trying to provoke you basically, and you're not allowing them to do that. It has tested you massively, and now you're understanding that the only thing that you can really do is just kind of laugh at it. You have to laugh at the situation, otherwise you're going to cry. And yeah, we've got the moon at the bottom. So yeah, you're just going to have to just kind of like laugh about the situation. That's what you're doing. That's the lesson that you're learning. You're learning that sometimes you can't affect a situation, particularly when there are such strong characters around. You've got the King of Swords, and then you've got the Knight of Wands reversed, which says to me that there's been like some restraint on you being able to like go forward, because there's been a particular character that hasn't really allowed you to have the freedom that you wanted to. And I don't know if you went against your intuition in trusting this person. But, you know, it was an honest mistake, I think. It was an honest kind of, you know, you really kind of hoped that this person wasn't going to be like that. I think you thought that this person was going to be a little bit better, or this situation was going to be a little bit better, but it turned out to be quite detrimental for you. So, yeah, that's what I'm kind of getting. Bear with me. Pile. No, it's okay. So... yeah, I think that it's something that's definitely, you know, you felt disempowered, particularly with both Strength and the High Priestess under each other, reversed. It just says to me that the intuition was not allowed to come through, and you were kind of pushed down. The King of Swords gives me this very dictatorial kind of vibe. Somebody, either a boss or somebody who's in an authoritative position, is someone that's not really giving you the ability to be yourself, allow yourself to come forward and do what you want. And you might have been under the spell a little bit. You might have been, you know, lulled in by a false sense of security by this person. But now that they're starting to show their true colours, you're like, right, okay, you're kind of moving on. It definitely feels like they've cut off a part of you. You know, I remember I went to this reader one time. I don't know if she read cards or what, but she was reading to me after a breakup, and she said, you've got to grow back the parts of you that this particular relationship like broke off of you. And this is what the whole thing about the starfish is that even though it's impaled several times, the starfish can regrow parts of itself back. And the Ten of Swords is reversed, so it kind of says to me that you're on that trajectory at the moment. You know, you kind of, you know, you've seen that this person, this situation, this thing has kind of like made you really feel that, you know, part of you has gone. And that's why the Strength card is here, reversed. With the High Priestess reversed, I don't know, there may have been a block on the intuition as well. I did a reading yesterday, I think it was yesterday or my latest reading just before this one. And I think it was pile 2, had a similar kind of message. Except it was, I think, a little bit more harder. But whereas this is still pretty bad. So not bad in the sense, but like, you know, you're having to laugh about it. You're having to... It's really admirable, actually, the way that you're able to just laugh about it and gain, you know, strength from that humour. Because sometimes when you don't have anything else left, that's kind of the only thing that you have. What's really interesting with the Ten of Swords reversed, and then with the Star, we've got the Ten of Swords, which is like a sea creature, and then we go into the energy of the jellyfish, which is again another sea creature, but it's almost like it's evolving into another kind of phase, into a different kind of, you know, it's allowing itself to feel the emotions of the situation that is happening and ride through that. What I'm noticing here, which is really interesting, can you see that? I know that they're not exactly like together like that, but it does look like they are part of the same picture. So with that Nine of Wands here, it just kind of, the Knight of Wands and the Nine of Wands, interesting. The Nine of Wands is just that I think, you know, you're clearly defensive about this situation with every right to be. I think, you know, But I think that also, you know, some people, they just don't understand their own behavior. They don't understand the way that they're behaving. They don't understand why that they're doing what they're doing. You know, it's just interesting. So the lessons that you're learning, pile one, is that you just got to take it with a pinch of salt and just kind of be like, whatever, you know. People are going to do what they're doing, aren't they? There's not much you can do about it. No matter how much you try and, like, you know, try and wish that they weren't that way, or but yeah, interesting. Wow. So we've got conjunction, alliance, and it's reversed. So it definitely is that sense of, like, you thought that you had something here with this person. You thought that there was some kind of, like, alliance. You felt that there was some kind of you thought it was a good thing, and it turned out a little bit difficult. And oh wow, also the koi fish. It's just quite unfortunate. Interesting how the fish and then that, they're both reversed, the devil. So, and then this, like the devil, this card, you've got this kind of trumpet flower, which is what these animals go into, and then they die. So it's almost like, it's just, I think there's just a realizing that you were barking up the wrong tree, that you trusted the wrong person, I think, and you're laughing about it, because if you, as I said, if you don't laugh about it, you might cry about it. That's the energy I'm getting. Okay, you got two. Look at that, death, and you got self-love. So, okay, this is very interesting. So what I'm getting from here, pile, can you see that? Lovely. Yeah, what I'm getting from this pile pile one. Gosh, focus, Reena. What I'm getting from that is that, you know, the humor is very indicative of you being able to give yourself self-love in this situation, because sometimes we are so hard on ourselves because of a certain situation, and you're like, there is no point in me being hard on myself. I just have to learn from it, because I think you got quite damaged, to be honest with you. From what I can see here, 10 of Swords, High Priestess reversed, Strength reversed. There's a bit of damage here. There's a bit of collateral. Regardless of whether or not that is, it might be emotional. It's not regardless. Emotional or, you know, emotional, mental. Judging here, I think it's ego. And I don't mean that in a bad sense of the word. I mean that in the sense of the word that, you know, you trusted this person. It's not, you know, ego has been, like, blasted around and people think that it's a bad thing. It's not. You know, the ego is like the inner child to me. The ego is the little child, which we have to take care of, but we can't let it rule us. Do you know what I mean? So, you know, it's that sense where, you know, you trusted someone and they turned out to be a bit of an a-hole. Do you know what I mean? So I wouldn't say that they could be, I think they're just a bit dictatorial. I think that they just like things that you thought that they were going to be nice to work with, and it turns out that they're not very nice. And they completely halted you in your tracks. You weren't able to do what you wanted to do. Steered you off course. But it's okay, because this is a part of yourself that I think that kind of relates to a sense of codependency that might have had to kind of go through the motions in order for it to die. And in order for it to transform, because that's what the koi fish is about. It's about the ability to transform. And with it reversed, it just kind of gives me the idea that, I don't know, I just feel like you were barking up the wrong tree, swimming up the wrong stream. And then now you're realizing what should be the right stream for you to flow up, if that makes sense. And I laugh because you've got humour there. Because you're like, oh, God, maybe I should have seen it. Maybe I should have seen it coming. It is what it is, you know. We start and we start again. And we live and we learn. I can pull out all of the different, like, sayings out of the box. But, do you know what I mean? It's a very sweet thing from after a very hard lesson. It's a hard lesson, part one. I mean, you've got some intense cards here. But I think you're amazing. for being able to get through this. Another thing, right, today I actually saw like a flock of geese flying in formation like that. And what I'm thinking is that it's very rare that sometimes you get that. You know, I mean, I've got a park next to me which has like tons of geese, has loads of geese. But to see them flying in the formation that I did, I don't see them that often. And we got number 6. So there's something about the lovers. There's something about that balance within the self. So something about boundaries, I would say. Establish your boundaries really clearly. Get the boundaries really clear. This is something to make you challenge your boundaries. I mean, humor is great to like, you know, laugh about it, but also use that time to reflect on why this King of Swords was able to do this to you. So, pile 1, I hope you enjoyed that reading. If you did like it, please do give it a thumbs up. Please do subscribe for more videos. Please do hit the bell icon as well, so that you can get notified of when I upload. And if you want a private reading, please do get in touch via the description box down below with my email. But otherwise, my darlings, you take care and let me know your thoughts in the comments, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye. Pile 2, hello and welcome to your reading. So, what have you learned from this situation? Fear. I realize I'm testing my resolve to live in the energy of love. Wow. So there's either 2 things here. You're either noticing that you are functioning from a place of fear, or you are realizing that you are in fear. Does that mean the same thing? I just realised that as I said it. Sorry, pile 2. Yeah, there's a state of fear that's going on here, clearly. But do you know that you're in it? I don't know if some of you know that you're in it. I think the reason why I said that was because I think some of you are realizing that there's something fearful about the situation that you don't like. And then I think and then I also think some of you are realizing that you were in a place of fear, because this is about what you've learned. So I think the main thing is that you are functioning from a place of fear. That's what you understand. Whether or not you're still in that state, I'm not sure, and we'll find out. But I realize that I'm testing my resolve to live in the energy of love. I think you're there. I think you're there. Or I think at least you're moving towards that. Otherwise you wouldn't be watching this reading. Yeah, let's put it here. Okay, let's have a look at your tarot. This is intriguing. Okay. Pile 2, what has pile 2 learned from this situation? What has pile 2 learned from this situation? What has pile 2? The Empress reversed. The Knight of Swords reversed. The 5 of Wands the 5 of Wands reversed. The 9 of Swords reversed. Well, I should have really known, really. If it was to do with fear, I should have known that. The Wheel of Fortune. Oh, gosh. Okay. I love it when I think, oh, yeah, I'm going to do a quick reading, and it's not going to come out that deep. And Spirit just has a different game for me, my loves. It really does. Because it knows the collective that come to watch my readings. And it's like, no. I got a message for for your beautiful, beautiful collective. And they need to hear this. It's a very similar message to one that I did the other day, actually. This is like definitely trauma. Something ancestral, something to do with the mother line. Yeah, for sure. For sure. Queen of Swords. I think what is happening, you're realizing that certain patterns have contributed to you functioning from a space of fear. That's what I think that this is about. Judgment reversed. Okay, right. So that means you're still in the process, which is why fear came up, which is why I came up with those 2 definitions at the beginning. So the Queen of Swords is the thing that stands out to me out of all of these cards here. The Queen of Swords reversed tells me about a woman that does not talk to herself nicely. Now, this is not gender specific, but in the respect of the Queen of Swords, I just think of someone who has a lot of negative self-talk. With the Knight of Swords reversed as well, it's almost like there's this relationship of the thinking and the action that's taken on the basis of the thought. This has arisen, and I don't know, it might not necessarily be a mum or a mother figure, right? Or a female figure, grandmother, dad's father. You know, it could be on the paternal side. I'm just thinking like a strong matriarch. So it could even be a teacher or something. But somebody down the line put this thing in your head that made you believe that you weren't allowed to have something. You weren't deserving of something. And that no matter what you fought for, this is really sad actually. No matter what you fought for, you still wouldn't get it. That's the message I'm getting. I could cry. It's really deep. And that's why there's been this sense of dissatisfaction with what you believe that you've had. And there's this kind of like consistent sense of like reactionary kind of behavior. Not being able to like really fulfill yourself, fulfill your destiny because of this belief that, you know, this core central belief that you don't think that you're worthy of this. That's what I think you're realizing. I think you're realizing that you've been acting from this space of fear. That's what I'm getting, pile 2. Oof. I'm so sorry, my darlings. I'm so sorry. Aries reversed, yeah, of course. Act reversed. Another one, Sagittarius as well. So Sagittarius energy. Sagittarius, but acting from a place of fear. Sagittarius, and then Leo energy, but Leo is kind of averse. And then the 7 of Pentacles as well, which is this is Taurus as well. So I mean, the only thing is that like what I see upright here is the fact that you really want to create some kind of stability for yourself, but it's just been difficult, and I think that's what you're realizing. You're starting to, you know, I wouldn't say you're starting to take responsibility. I think you're just starting to understand why you're fearful. And that's what's going on here. So that's what you've learned from this situation. I'm so sorry, pile 2. I'm sorry you've had to go through this. But you're starting to learn lessons. You're starting to understand things about yourself. And it's a beautiful, beautiful process. It just takes time. I wouldn't be surprised if some of you are starting shadow work. If you aren't doing any shadow work, start off with just journaling. I mean, there's lots of prompts, but I don't know. I'm just feeling, because there just seems to be a lot of thoughts going around in your head. And, you know, this self-deprecating kind of like attacking self-talk, thoughts, these sort of things. Yeah, I think it's really important for you to kind of not only be kind to yourself, but to really look at what the truth is. And when you write it down, you're able to identify what the truth is of the situation, rather than you kind of believing of something that isn't true. Because, you know, what something or someone else has put onto us isn't the truth, you know. It's about you and about what you think. It's not about what others think of you. And it's very difficult when you've got somebody, when you're listening to somebody that you respect in a position of authority, but it kind of conflicts with who you are. But do remember that some people like to put you in a place where you're disempowered, so that they can profit off of that in any way it be it emotionally or mentally. You know, people hurt people, and they abuse when they're in a sense of power. They like to abuse in that power, so that they can make themselves feel better, because they're acting from a space of inadequacy. And that's definitely happening here. So yeah, what you've learned is that you're reacting from a place of fear. So, and I feel you're changing it. I feel that's what's happening, pile 2. Very clear message. Wow, the architect, and it came reversed. Yeah, there's an inability to be able to build. Like, there's this thing where you're like, oh my God, I can't build. I can't build because how do I build from a space where I don't feel adequate? It's almost like you feel like the foundation isn't strong enough for you to build. But that's okay, because I think, to be honest with you, when you understand, and this reminds me of a saying that J.K. Rowling said, and I know she's been cancelled or whatever, but I still think she's an incredible writer and author. She said that rock bottom was the most solid foundation of which she had to build her life. And that's what it is. Even though she had nothing, she built her life up from that point. So, and whatever you believe, even if you don't believe that was what her story is, the idea behind the quote and what she's saying, I think, is really relevant to everyone in the respect of knowing what what it is that you need to kind of really start, but just make sure you get rid of all the illusions, get everything clear, and then you can really get to work, I think that's what you're understanding. I think you're starting to also understand that there's been so much influence that you're like, no, now I'm going to really focus on myself and start rebuilding myself in a way that I've never done before. Pile 2, that was amazing, insane, intense. I hope you like this reading. If you did like it, please do give me a thumbs up. Please do subscribe for more videos. Do also hit the bell icon so that you'll get notified of when I upload next. If you would like a personal reading, remember these are just general readings. Do get in touch with me in the email down in the description box below. But otherwise, my darlings, you take care. Please do take care of yourselves, and do talk, do journal, get this stuff out. It will be really, really important for you to do that, I think. Take care, my darlings. Bye. Hi, pile 3, and welcome to your reading. So, what have you learned from this situation? Let's see. Honesty. I love that all of the cards were upright. I can't always expect the truth from others, but I can expect it from myself. Deep. I think that's pretty self-explanatory. This is kind of what you've gained from this situation. That's the overall flavour of what you've gained. Let's see what the tarot has to say. You're understanding that, I don't know, I'm getting that tune, Me, Myself and I. It's a really old track. It's not the Beyonce one, it's the other one. Let me see if I can find it, actually. I'm going to pause the video and then find the track for you. So I just went off to do a little bit of research there about the track, De La Soul. Well, it's actually called Me, Myself and I, not by Baby Rexha or by Beyonce, but by De La Soul. If you check out that tune, it's a really old track for my new audience, but for my more mature audience, I'm sure you know, or the ones who are the same age as me. But yeah, it's about you being really proud of who you are and being proud of yourself. If you have any kind of, go and watch the video of that track and then you'll kind of understand what it's about. But it's about you being true to who you are, true to yourself, true to what you want to express in this world. And it's really interesting because I resonate quite strongly with that track. Like, when you just wanted to be who you wanted to be, there was very much like you had to fit into a particular identity. But this is about you just being who you are and being honest with that, even though in the day that we live in at the moment, it's very kind of open for you to do that and to be like that. But sometimes it can be a little bit intimidating. So we've got the Fool reversed. We've got the Page of Cups reversed. We've got the Two of Wands reversed. 8 of Wands reversed, Queen of Wands upright. So, I mean, you're like quite an intimidating character, if I'm honest with you, which is why people are like kind of maybe a little bit like nervous about you expressing your true self. It's causing you like not to kind of step forward with any, like you're coming forward with experience. You're coming forward with a sense of like of you being very cautious about what you're doing. And we've also got the King of Wands here upright. So we've got the Queen and the King of Wands. You may have a friend of yours, or you may have somebody that's very close to you, maybe a divine counterpart or somebody that really supports you in what you're doing. But, you know, you may be feeling that you're not able to be as honest as you could be. And it's interesting how we have like a lion as the king, and then for the queen we have a mouse. So it's almost like the queen, and the queen to me, in this suit anyway, is like the real magician. She's the one that can really kind of make things happen and kind of flow and kind of be, whereas like with the king has to make a statement. The queen doesn't really have to do that. The queen manifests her surroundings in a way. That's how I interpret it. But there's kind of like this inability to be able to do that. It's almost like there's been a bit of a stop on it. I kind of get a bit of the Chariot reversed, Wands energy with that. As Sagittarius, and then we also have the Sun as well. So, sorry, Mars actually. No, hold on, Mars. Yeah, Mars energy. So Mars and Aries energy. So I mean, you know, there's this inability to be able to go forward, put yourself in the way that you really want to. Yeah, like kind of stop yourself from being in that space where you're able to really be inquisitive. I don't know if they may have been like some kind of person that was threatened by you. And because of that, they feel that they want to kind of undermine you. And maybe give you gyp or give you like a hard time for you being the strong personality that you are. But you're a queen or a king. I think I'm feeling that you're more this queen. I think this king is somebody that's around you. Okay, we've got the Empress reversed. Yeah, there may be somebody that's trying to put you down, I think. But similar to like pile 2, I do also think that this may be something to do with a strong female figure in your life that is trying to like kind of put things down. And they are totally like pushing their own stuff onto you. That is what's going on. Okay, so what I'm seeing here is I'm seeing you as the Queen of Wands. I'm seeing a King of Wands as like possibly the potential of the situation, but also like maybe even what you want to present to the situation. Like you want to come across in this really kind of, you know, you give this presence of being a queen, and also you want to bring in this kind of like essence of being a king to everybody. But the Empress character, whoever this is, it's kind of oppressive. I am seeing this as a person. Page of Cups could be more the situation that you're not allowed to be able to be inquisitive. You're having to actually be more of a king as opposed to be residing in your queen. But I also do see that there is this sense of somebody on your side, and you two are kind of like up against this Empress energy. This is a random message that just came through just now, but if some of you, and I know that this might only apply to maybe 1 or 2 of you, if some of you are trying to get pregnant, this may not be the right time to get pregnant. There may be some things that you need to kind of put into place in order to make sure that you are okay with yourself. There may be some things where you're having to like address your own personal situations to make sure that you feel right about having children. I don't know, there's something here, but it's almost like, you know, you may be trying for children and certain things are not working. You may be doing like IVF or something like that, or maybe some kind of treatments, and it doesn't seem to be working. Don't be kind of discouraged by that. Just be honest about where you are, where you're at. And just, you know, people and this is the thing, right? You know, there's all this stigma about when people can have children. King of Swords, interesting. There's all this stigma about when people can have children. I've done quite a lot of, I've read a lot of papers on when you're able to have children, and also women having children later in life. Motherhood comes at any time, so please do not think that you can't, it's all in your mind in that respect. Obviously, and even when doctors say that you can't, right? I'm telling you, there's miracles that have happened. So it's about you and about your own personal situation. So don't let that get in the way of what you're, just understand if it's not happening now at this time, then, and this could be also for a project as well. If something is not coming to fruition at this time, then it just may not be the right timing. And it's not major because it's not the Wheel of Fortune, it's the 8 of Wands and the 2 of Wands. So it's almost like having to come out of the comfort zone in order to explore some different options and to find out about this Empress reversed. It could be issues with, as I said, like a maternal side. And with the 7 of Wands reversed, I do also get the sense of like ghosts from the past coming to kind of like haunt. So if you're honest with those situations and how this manifests within your own life, which I can see here that there's a really clear dynamic that's allowing you to bring that up to the surface, then you're going to be able to be honest with yourself so that you can actually get rid of it or heal it. And you've got Cancer, immerse. Again, we've got that sense of motherhood as well. So it's about you being able to just allow yourself to be in this space. Sometimes we're around emotions or we experience emotions which we don't like. It's quite challenging, but we can get through it. We can work through it, and as long as we give ourselves credit for that as well. Okay, let me just... Okay, you've got 2 cards. Wow, you got the Elephant and the White Owl. So there is something about this sense of like wisdom in the respect of you being able to kind of hold your ground and be steady, but also understand that you don't have all the answers yet. And you need to take your time in order to understand that about yourself. There's some learning, some evolving. Dare I say it, some growing up to do. I don't see this as like desperately like immature because we've got the Queen and the King of Wands here, but I'm just feeling with that Fool reversed, there's something that's kind of holding you back to, and also with the Page of Cups reversed, there was a little bit of immaturity there. I wouldn't say it's like something that's obvious. It's something, it's like a niggling thing that's kind of like affecting this situation, but it's almost like a little thread, but it's linked to something big with this Empress reversed. So, and then we've got new beginnings. So I think also there may be a sense of you maybe not allowing, and then we've got the eggs there as well. So there's definitely something about, and then breaking out of this egg here. Definitely something about kids here. I don't know for some of you, if you're trying to get pregnant again or trying to get pregnant for the first time. But don't give yourself a hard time about it. Just kind of walk towards the idea of you being nourishing and caring towards yourself, and also allowing yourself to kind of embrace that new beginning. I'm seeing a lot of purple here. So there's something to do with the crown chakra here. So anything that you can do to unblock that so that you can receive downloads from the universe in order to like know what step to take, that might be something that's really good for you. Also being really vocal, I'm getting that from that sensation of that blue and that purple. Talk about it to your partner. You've got blue here as well and purple, so yeah, talk about it, be honest with yourself, be honest with what you're doing, and be honest with where you're coming from. And yeah, but that's what you're learning that about yourself. You're learning that maybe you can't go in head first like you may have thought that you were able to, because that's why the elephant is there. So now you're understanding that actually no, you need to be honest with yourself about what kind of stage you're at so that you can make the next move forward. Interesting readings. I loved it. I hope you liked it too. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Please do subscribe for more videos. Do hit the bell icon as well so that you know when I next upload. And also, if you wanted a private reading, please do get in touch with me directly with my email in the description box below. But otherwise, my darlings, I will speak to you very soon. Take care and lots of love. Bye.